Students, welcome to class today on Wednesday. Hope you've had a good week so far. Hope things are going well for you. The date today is the 28th, so welcome to class today, Wednesday the 28th. A couple quick announcements. We will have a test on Friday, so keep that in mind. Test on Friday. I'll give you a review sheet at the end of the class period today, and you will spend the whole class period tomorrow working on that. You do not have to finish it, but if you do finish it, that will be 5 bonus points on your test on Friday. You do owe me homework from yesterday, from Tuesday, so please turn that in now if you've not done that already. And Martin, you have not, I shouldn't say you haven't, I apologize if you haven't taken your quiz. That was supposed to have been done, I believe, by Tuesday or Wednesday, so please get that taken care of. I am going to try to get some of those papers on Wednesday or Thursday and grade some of those. The reason I've not picked up some of the papers you've turned in is because Michael has soccer practice over at the Hickson Middle School, so I'm not picking him up at Berean Academy. I'm picking him up over at the field, and that's why it's hard to pick up the papers. But hopefully that will change. We'll figure something out there. Again, hope you've had a great week so far. Hope things are going well for you, and I hope that you'll really study for this test, okay? Please, please work hard. I know this isn't your favorite subject. I know it's boring listening to these videos, but if you'll please work hard, I think I can help you, and I think you can help yourself understand this math. We are looking today, we're starting Chapter 2. Do you see that? Lesson 2.1. This information I'm teaching you today will not be on the test. Do you understand? This will not be on the test. I'm just not going to waste a day and not teach you anything. So this information is not in the test, so understand that. And you'll have homework on this over the weekend. We'll talk more about that later. We're looking today at Lesson 2.1, segment bisectors and segment midpoints. So midpoints and bisectors of segments, Lesson 2.1, and today is the 28th. Please grab your pencils, grab your brains, grab your books, and let's get into this. I'm going to go quickly, so you'll probably need to pause the video throughout the video. First of all, let's talk about the definition of a midpoint. You need to know this. The point on the segment that divides it into two congruent segments is called the midpoint. The point on the segment that divides it into two congruent segments is called the midpoint. Let me give you a picture of that. I would encourage you to write this picture down. If we have a segment, let me fix that and fix that and that. If we have a segment like this, we'll call this segment AB. And right in the middle, we have point X. If X is placed on the segment so that this segment here, 1/, is congruent to this segment here, 1/, and by the way, that's what those slashes means. It means this segment here is congruent to this segment here. If X is placed on AB so that it's right in the middle and it divides this segment right in half, then we call X the midpoint. X is the midpoint of this segment, and that's what that definition means, and I think that's really easy. Let's continue on. Let's talk about a segment bisector. A segment bisector. When you have a segment or a ray, don't forget what a segment is. It looks like this. Don't forget what a ray is. It looks like this. Don't forget what a line is. It looks like this. When you have a segment, a ray, a line, please copy this in your notes, or a plane that intersects a segment at its midpoint, we call this figure a segment bisector. Let me give an example of what we're talking about, okay? Here's our segment. Here's our endpoints. We'll call them X and Y. Again, if I'm going too fast, just pause the video. I go fast on purpose, okay? That way those that are slower can pause the video. Those that are getting it can keep going on. Now, if I have a line that goes through the, or a segment that goes through this segment, and it does so right in the middle, then we call this segment right here, this segment right here, we call it a segment bisector. Why? Because it's cutting this segment in half. If we have a line like this, has arrows on both ends, if I have a line that goes right through this XY segment right at the middle like this, right at the middle, then we call this line a segment bisector because this line is cutting the segment in half. If we have a ray, like this that cuts the segment in half, we call that a segment bisector. All those are segment bisectors, and it is a segment or a ray or a line or a plane that intersects the segment right at its midpoint, and thus this segment is congruent to this segment. Okay, that is what a segment bisector is. Now, I do not want you to write these in your notes. Okay, please don't write these in your notes. Just sit back, relax, and just watch. Okay, do you see here how I have a segment, and do you notice how A is in the middle? Notice how I have a slash here and a slash here. Because of that information, could you safely state that A is the midpoint of this segment? Yes, you could. Could you not? Is not A right in the middle? How do I know A is right in the middle? Because I have a slash here and a slash here. Thus, this segment here is congruent to this segment here. So could you safely state that A is the midpoint of this segment? Yes, you could. Could you safely state that B is the midpoint of this segment here? What do you think? And again, you don't have to write this down, just listen. Yes, you could. You know that for sure. Because what is the length of this segment here? 5. What is the length of this segment here? 5. They're the same. Thus, this segment here is congruent to this segment here. So because of that, yes, you can definitely safely state that B is the midpoint. Now come down here. Can you state for sure that C is the midpoint of this segment? It looks like it. It looks like it's right in the middle to me. But no, you cannot state for sure that C is the midpoint because there's no slashes like that, or there's no numbers like a 10 and a 10 telling you that these segments are congruent. And by the way, here you would think that D is the midpoint, but it's not because we don't have a segment. We have two segments. We have one segment running this way, then it bends, and another segment going this way. So even though we have a slash here and a slash here, can I say that D is truly the midpoint? No, of course not, because I don't have a segment. I've got two segments, one going down this way, then it bends, and one going up this way. The only way you have a midpoint is when you have one straight segment with a point right in the middle. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Now let's continue on. Let's have you take some more notes. Please copy this segment in your notes. Segment AB with M in the middle. How do I know it's in the middle? Because of a slash here and a slash here. All that I want you to do is I want you to find the length of segment AM, and I want you to find the length of segment MB. Well, students, this is so simple. Let's do it quickly and let's go on. Please take some good notes. I have showed you here that the whole length of AB all the way across is 26. So if the whole length is 26 and this point cuts it in half, then 26 cut in half would have to be, well, AM has a length of 13 and MB has a length of 13. So there, that was pretty simple. All right, let's try another problem. Now this is a little different here. I want you to find the length of segment RS, that's the entire whole segment. Then I want you to find the length of PS. Now notice I have a slash here and a slash here, so that tells me that P is right in the middle of RS, so P is the midpoint. Now if P is the midpoint, that means this segment here has the same length as this segment here. So if RP has a length of 7, then PS must also have a length of 7. Now if from here to here is 7 and from here to here is 7, then the whole length has to be 14. That really is pretty simple, okay? Now, let's continue on. Again, if I'm going too fast, just pause the video. Now, I want to give you a chance to earn some bonus points. So, I am in a second going to go over these. So let me tell you what I want you to do, then pause the video, work both of these problems out, and then turn the video back on. Now, let's start here for a second. For this problem here, I would like you to find the length of DE, And I'd also like you to find the length of EF. Now you have to get both of those right for 1 bonus point. Now let's come down here. For this problem, I would like you to find the length of NP. Then I'd like you to find the length of MP. And you must get both of those right to get 1 bonus point, okay? So hopefully you know what to do. Go ahead and pause the video now at this time. Work all this out. When you're done with both these problems, go ahead and turn the video back on. Okay, hopefully you did well on those problems. Let's first of all take a look at this bonus problem up here. First of all, I've told you the whole length of this whole entire segment all the way across is 18. Okay, so if that's the case, and notice E's right in the middle because I have a slash here and a slash here, which means this segment here is congruent to this segment here. E's right in the middle. Well, that means I'm going to cut 18 in half. So DE must have a length of 9 and EF must have a length of 9. Hopefully you got both of those right. If you did, that's 1 bonus point for your account. Now let's come down here. Notice that MN has a slash and NP has a slash, so that means this segment here is congruent to this segment here. Alright, so if MN has a length of 11, then NP also has a length of 11. That's pretty easy. And then if from here to here is 11 and from here to here is 11, then the entire segment has to have a length of 22. Alright, let's continue on. Now, let's throw a little algebra in here. I know that'll make you really excited. Let's toss a little algebra in here and see how you do. Please copy this problem in your notes. Now, notice I do have a slash here, and notice I do have a slash here. So that means M is the midpoint. And notice how I have this segment right here going through AB. So this segment is called a segment bisector because it's cutting AB right in half. Okay, so look what we have. We know that AM, this segment here, must be congruent to MB, this segment here, because they both have a slash. Thus we know that M is right in the middle. Thus we know this segment is congruent to this segment. So I want us to solve for x. Well, that's easy enough. We know that 5x has to equal 35. Correct? I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, this segment here is the same as this segment here. So 5x equals 35. Now, hopefully you know what to do to solve for x. We divide both sides by 5, and x equals 7. Very, very, very simple problem. Okay? So we're throwing a little algebra in there. You'll have some of those in your homework to do later on this week. Okay? Now, I want you to kind of just sit back and watch and look at something here. Okay? Look at this line here. It's drawn on the coordinate plane. Remember, this is my y-axis, this is my x-axis, and we call this the coordinate plane. Now, you do not have to write this down. I should have said that right away, and I apologize for not saying that. If you started to, you can keep writing it down, or you can stop. That's up to you, but you do not need to write this down. I just want to show you something here. What if I have a line drawn on the coordinate plane, or a segment, excuse me, not a line, but a segment, and one endpoint is at negative 6, 1, so over negative 6, up 1, and the other endpoint is at 3, 6, over 3 and up 6. What if I asked you to find the midpoint, right smack dab in the middle of that segment? Well, you could try to count like over and up and over and up and try to find the middle, all right, and that's fine to do, but there's actually a formula that gives you the exact ordered pair that falls in the middle of any two given ordered pairs. Okay, so we're going to look at that in a second, and this formula I'm going to give you, do you see what it does? It gives you this midpoint right here. You probably had it in Algebra 2. I know we had it in Bridge Math the year I taught you when we did second semester geometry, and so this might be familiar. Okay, so here we go. Here is the formula that finds the midpoint of a segment drawn on the what? The coordinate plane. Here's the formula. Go ahead and write this down. It's called the midpoint. I abbreviated there. The midpoint formula. Okay? And here it is. You take one x value and the other x value, and you add them together and divide by 2. So back to this thing here. Here's one x value, negative 6. Here's another x value, 3. You would add those two x values together. And then put a comma right here. Put a comma. and then you would take one y value and the other y value, you would add them together and divide by 2. And that's the formula. That's it right there. X plus x divided by 2, y plus y divided by 2. And if you'll use that formula, what it will do for you is it will give you the midpoint right here in the middle of a segment that's drawn on the coordinate plane. Let's practice this formula, okay? Let's go ahead and quickly grab this and kind of highlight it. And let's see if we can't drag it to this slide over here. There we go. All right, now let's go ahead and let's find the midpoint. Are you ready? Let's find the midpoint of the segment that has these coordinates for its endpoints. Now you don't have to draw a picture of it. Don't do that, okay? You don't have to. If you did, it would look like this. There it is. I already drew it for you, okay? But you don't have to do that. All you have to do is use this formula, and this formula will give you the midpoint. So let's go ahead and label this is an x, this is a y, this is an x, this is a y. So I take x plus x. So here we go, parentheses x plus x. That's 2 plus a negative 4. X plus x all over 2. And then put a comma. And then y plus y. So 5 plus a negative 3. There, all over 2. Now with a handy dandy calculator, you should very easily be able to simplify. Type into your calculator 2 plus a negative 4 is a negative 2, and then divide it by 2, you will get a negative 1. If you're not, check your work on your calculator. And then if you type into your calculator 5 plus a negative 3, you'll get 2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So there, you found the midpoint. You didn't have to draw the line. You could if you wanted to, but all you had to do was use this formula. And by the way, do you want to see if it works real quick? Let's see if it works. Remember, you don't have to write this down, just watch. Remember how I told you I already had the endpoints, these endpoints right here, these two endpoints already graphed for you? Here they are. Here's one endpoint, 2, 5. Here's the other one, negative 4, negative 3. And back here, what, if you'll look in your notes, what did we find the midpoint was? Wasn't it negative 1, 1? Let's see if that makes sense. Negative 1, up 1. Booyah, right there in the middle. Look at that. That cuts this segment right in half, so it works. This formula that I gave you works. It gave us the exact midpoint between those two ordered pairs. All right. Now, I would like you to try to earn a bonus point. So on your own, I want you to find the midpoint of the segment that has these ordered pairs for its endpoints. I just gave you the formula. You don't need to graph it unless you want to, but you don't need to. Just go ahead and find the midpoint. So do that now. Pause the video. When you're done, turn it back on and see how you did. Okay, hopefully you did well on this. The formula, of course, is x plus x over 2, comma, y plus y over 2. And here we go. X plus x, that would be negative 1 plus negative 4 all over 2, and then comma. And then y plus y, 2 plus 1, all over 2. Now you will get out some decimals and fractions, so that happens sometimes, so no big deal. So a negative 1 and a negative 4 is a negative 5 divided by 2. You should have got out negative 2.5, or negative 5 over 2, or negative 2.5. I don't care. Any of those answers are fine. Let me say that again. You should have gotten out negative 5 over 2, or negative 2.5, or negative 2.5. Now over here, you could have gotten out 3 over 2, or 1.5, or 1.5. Any of those are fine. Let me say that again. For this right here, you could have had 3 over 2, or 1.5, or 1.5. And there's the midpoint for the segment that has these two ordered pairs for its endpoints. All right, so we're moving right along. That's it for today. I hope it's been a fast video for you. I do try to keep it quick so you can work on your homework. You know, that's how I was a couple years ago when I taught you guys. Now, let me say one more thing here to you. You know it's a Wednesday night. I believe in obeying the rules. I do not give you homework on Wednesday nights. You do not have to work on the review sheet tonight if you don't want to. You can if you want to. That's up to you, but you don't have to. I am giving you the whole class hour tomorrow to work on it, and what you don't get done, you can go home and listen to the homework help video that I'm going to make for you for this review sheet. So first of all, write down the review sheet so you have it. It's page 43, numbers 13 through 39. That is all of those. And you do not have to do it, but if you want the 5 bonus points for your test, you must do the review sheet and turn it in. Now, some of you might, please listen to this next comment. It's very important. Some of you might do really well on this review sheet and say to yourself, you know what, self, I really don't need to watch the homework help video. That might be true, but you need to listen to the first part of it. So tomorrow, when you come in the classroom on Thursday, and there's a video, a help video for you to watch, you need to at least turn it on and listen to the first so many minutes, because tomorrow's video is going to give you a list of things that's going to be fill in the blank on the test. Remember on the quiz? I gave you fill in the blanks. I gave you a word bank. I'm not going to do that again, okay? I told you that. So I'm going to give you a pretty long list of definitions and postulates you're going to have memorized, and I'm going to have you fill in the blanks on the test. So tomorrow, that'll be the first thing in the video. My voice is a little raspy. I apologize. Tomorrow, when you come into class on Thursday, that'll be the first thing that you'll want to listen to. And then, of course, on that video tomorrow, all of these problems here will be worked out for you so you can listen, learn, find your mistakes, and hopefully be ready for your test on Friday, okay? Call me or email if you have any questions. Don't forget to turn your homework in from last night. Have a good day.